Hello everybody, my name is Fortefyre and I'm wearing a yellow deadmau5 shirt, kind of from Hot Topic when I was a kid. You know what that means? It means I need to do laundry, because I almost never wear this shirt. This shirt's like super old. No, we're doing something a little bit different. So, I decided that I wanted to play arcade games, but I really didn't have a means to do it. Sure, I could use MAME, but I didn't have a controller for MAME. And then I bought one. This one's actually pretty cool, but it handles super weird. It's on the cheaper end, because I'm all about cheap stuff, but it is what it is, right? We'll take a look at it and I'll show you around it. But yeah, let's play some arcade games. So I started the show on Twitch called Arcade Antics, but I didn't realize that YouTube already had a channel called Arcade Antics, and to avoid some copyright reasons, I changed it. I didn't want to really infringe on somebody's copyright. That's kind of crappy. So I changed it to Arcade Anomalies. But then I thought the name of the show is actually kind of weird, because I'm not talking about weird things in games. It's just arcade moments, I guess. So for right now, this name's gonna stick. If I can find something better, I will change it. The logo and the intro animation was super easy to make. I got it from the Envato Market, and I'll put a link down in the description if you're curious about how to use that intro. It's really super easy to use. It just costs a little bit of money. Alright, so what are we playing today? We are playing the Track and Field series. Now, the Track and Field series is well known as being a NES title, right? But it started out as an arcade. A lot of the early NES games, whether they were sports, arcade, whatever, started off as arcade games. Double Dragon was an arcade game. Street Fighter, obviously, was an arcade game. Ghosts and Goblins, 10-Yard Fight, all of these great titles started off as arcade games. So we're going to move from this camera back onto the webcam, and the reason we're doing that is because that webcam is already set up to where I can use it on OBS to record the gameplay footage that we're about to get. So let's go. Alright, so the first game in the series is called Track and Field. It came out in 1984 and paralleled the 1984 Olympics. This game was definitely a home name, alright? Everybody knew about this game. It was very much a household name. NES had it, MSX, Atari 2600, Atari 8-bit console, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum. It was everywhere. Everybody knew about it. Very simple game, only consists of about 5 events, and you're going to see hopefully all those events today. The purpose of this is not to spend hours trying to beat this game. We're going to do a simple run through, and then we're going to talk about our opinions of the game and if we would continue playing it. That's the shtick for this. So yeah, we're going to be using MAME today. MAME is a super reliable and stable platform to play arcades. Arcade games if you don't have an arcade stand-up like myself. I don't have one. So I went out and I bought my, fancy schmancy, low-budget, entry-level arcade panel. Bear in mind, people pay like $200, $300 for this to have a great competitive one. And hopefully we don't destroy it. One of the key things to the game series is that you spam the hell out of the buttons. And that would really piss off the arcade owners, because you'd have to replace all the buttons quite often. Let's go ahead and boot her up. Bunch of ends. Alright, Track and Field. 4 identical people running from left to right. In the middle of the desert. Is that like Devil's Peak? I don't know. I feel like I should know what that geographical thing is. Oh well. Let's go ahead and pop in a coin. That's an annoying sound. Let's go ahead and start. So, the arcade stick's not doing anything. It looks like button 1 and 3 move them around. So let's go ahead and pick the ever-famous ass. Alright, our first event is, looks like it's going to be a dash, 100-meter dash. So we do this by spamming the buttons.
Get set. Fly. On your mark.
I anticipated it. My bad.
Get set.
So we're going to slow down a little bit, because he's going to catch up with us. And the whole idea for this is to qualify and try to get the same score as him, because if you finish at the same time, you get bonus points. I don't know the record for this game. Let me look it up real quick. 95,040 points. Alright, long jump. Plain and simple, we're going to spam the buttons, and once we get to the end, we hit the button, and we try to get 45 degrees. That's the optimal angle. If you keep hitting the buttons, you get more air. Cool, we qualify. Spam the hell out of them. We jumped way too early, but at the right angle, so we're definitely going to qualify, but we probably could have jumped a little bit better. By the way, I set that first place record because I kind of perfected this. I'm really bad at it now. If they don't give me a foul, I'm going to be really upset because that's totally a foul. Yeah, alright, cool. Well, we fouled out on the third time, but not a big deal. We can keep pressing. We'll be fine. We qualified. Let's go to the next event. Javelin throw. Super simple. Again, spam the buttons. Once you get to the very end, you want to throw it 45 degrees. That's the optimal degrees. And we threw it 79 meters, so not too bad. I like the run animation in this game. But I don't like that I have to spam, because these are super sensitive buttons, so I shouldn't be hitting it nearly as hard as I am. Great! We're first in the world. As taking over the leaderboards. Come on. And we set third. Not too shabby. Alright, so for this one, this is 110 meter hurdles. Super simple. We just spam the buttons again, and then we jump every time we see a hurdle by pushing the middle button. And 1274. That's probably the best record I think I've ever done. Huh. We're not first in the world. Alright, this one is the hardest. This is the hammer throw. So what we have to do is we push the button to start the sequence, and then whenever it flashes red, we're supposed to hit it and launch it at a 45-degree angle. A little bit too heavy, but we may actually qualify. This might be the first time I ever qualify on it. 71! Man, damn, it's so hard to get that. Fouled that one. I really don't like this event. But we do have an extra life. We set the dip switch to where we had an extra life so that we can move forward in the game and check out this final event, which is high jump, which I don't understand either. We hit the button and it starts the sequence. Supposedly, if you... Ah, bummer!
Foul.
It's so hard.
2.15 meters.
Oh, but we did it. Barely. First in the world. Well, I mean, how can you be the first in the world if you're setting the same record?
2.25 meters.
I fucked that one up totally.
Foul.
Alright, let's do it. I want to beat this game. All we gotta do to qualify is beat this.
2.25 meters.
Ah, we just barely touched it.
Foul.
Alright, so that's gonna be game over for us. Chariots of Fire? I think that's a copyright violation. It's Konami. They can afford to pay off anybody. Alright, let's move on to the next game. So where Track and Field was released in 1983, there obviously needed to be a sequel. The game was super successful. So what did they do? Well, they didn't make Track and Field 2. Yet. Instead, they made a game called Hypersports. Hypersports is known in Japan as Hyper Olympic 84. And it features a few different Olympic sports, so instead of just like the track and field aspect, it moves on to swimming, weightlifting, which is funny because it looks like the 3D balls animation, long horse, pole vault, you name it. I have played this game, but I've never made it past the archery level. The archery level is super difficult. But I like this game because it's a lot easier than the predecessor, and I know I didn't say my final thoughts on the first game. My final thoughts on the first game were that it's very, very easy, like in principle, but you need to perfect it. You could definitely tell it was made as an arcade game to just consume quarters. But if I had to rate it, I'd say like 7 out of 10. I haven't really created a scale that I can like manipulate like I can for Fireside Chats, so we'll see. But anyway, Hypersports, released by Century in the United States. Konami obviously controlled it everywhere else. Supposedly, the Commodore 64 version, when it came to home versions, were perfect, which is weird because you don't really hear the word perfect in Commodore 64 in the same sentence like ever. Alright, so let's go ahead and get this started. H. Last one was N. This is H. That's interesting. Alright, so kind of aesthetically looks the same. We're going through a big leaderboard. Let's go ahead and pop in a coin. I don't understand what goes through the minds of some of the people that develop the sound tracks for whenever you put in coins. I remember being like super scared for 2 reasons of House of the Dead. Number 1, every time you put in a coin it make that whole like really spooky sound. And 2, if I was playing a game, I didn't want a damn crowd to come around me. I wasn't a child of the 80s. I wasn't trying to get a high score. I was just trying to relax and play some games. But if you put those coins in, you could hear that groaning noise and like 30 fucking people would flock to you. It's annoying. Let's go ahead and hit the start button. Alright, so instead of big oval this time, looks like we got a star. It makes spelling my name a little bit more difficult, but not too hard. Oh, I was able to use the stick. That's interesting. That gun is aimed right at us. So for this, we're going to be swimming. Same principle, we're going to be spamming buttons. Except now, we have to hit a button to breathe. It's just spamming. Everything in this game is spamming. Did we win? We did win. 1 minute, 3 seconds, 50. Not too shabby. Alright, so I was super confused the first time I played this. Because you would think that you'd have to hit the other two, or the other button to hit stuff from the left, and that's not true. I mean, it is true. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to focus like really hard on hitting these. I qualified, but I think I can get perfect. I've gotten perfect in the past for this. I'm curious to see if I can perfect the second variation that comes. But I'm pretty sure... Hey, we perfected. I'm pretty sure that that's not how skeet shooting goes in Olympic setting. If they release that many pigeons, they deserve gold medals. This one's a little bit more confusing because they tend to cross over right there. I didn't qualify, but let's go to the next round anyway. Alright, so this one's super hard. This one took me forever, and I still don't know what dictates it. So we spam it to a controlled speed, hit that. At the very top, we're supposed to hit it right at the pinnacle of our swing over so that we can start doing circles in the air. I mess it up like 90% of the time, so... Why would you do such a fancy move if you're not going to get good points? That was actually a really good one, too. And we fouled out. So that's it. The next event would be archery, which is super difficult because it happens on a 2D plane, which is super weird. And the other one's weightlifting, and then you got triple jump. Which triple jump is kind of like long jump, except you do 3 jumps and you do a big one. Then you have weightlifting, which I've never made it to, and then pole vault, which is kind of the same as the high jump, except it's the pole vault event. I don't want to put myself through pain and also destroy this trying to figure out how to beat it. So we're going to move on to the next game. What are my opinions of this one? Unnecessarily difficult. The learning curve for this game is silly. Much like number 1, it was meant to take all of your quarters. Not for me. But I digress. Let's go ahead and move on to my favorite one, but also the most cruel one, Konami 88. Hey everybody, Fortefyre here. Sorry that I'm breaking into the video and kind of like hijacking it, but I had to break it into part 1 and 2. The reason I'm doing this is because it was going to be like 50 minutes long. That's insane. I don't know about you, but if I see a video that's an hour, I have to be like mentally invested to it to watch it. So that being said, the next video is part 2, and it's already available, so go ahead and check it out. Until next time, Fortefyre out.